Kia ora koutou. Good evening, everybody. I've got the short straw tonight because everyone else wasn't available, so you can chat with me. I am Andrew Digby, or Diggs. I'm the scientist for the Kakapo and Takahe programs at Duck. And you haven't seen me here so far because I was here at the start of the season on Whanau helping out with the artificial insemination. But since then I've been on Pukenui Island. And it's pretty cool to come back here later in the season and see how things have changed in the last few months, and particularly to see some nice healthy chicks like these two here. So I am going to try and give them a health check, and I say try because you'll see that they've been pretty mobile and have wandered quite a long way. So I'm not sure, but I'll give it a go. It's quite a stretch to reach them. So both of these chicks are looking good, as you can see. Nora A2 is about 12.55 and Heather A3 is about 14.95. They've tailed off a little bit, flattened. Their growth isn't as much as it has been in the past, but that's kind of what we expect as they get to this stage. They start to flatten off a little bit. But you can see that they're looking really good, and if you've seen them in colour, you can see that they've got really colourful feathers now. They've almost lost all of their down, and you can see that they're getting really mobile, moving around the nest a lot. And you might start to wonder what happens next. Well, soon they'll start to wander towards the entrance of the nest, which is just to the right of the camera as we look at it. And these guys are 48 days old, so it's still a little bit early for them to come out of the nest. The youngest we've normally had is around about sort of mid-50s, 55 days or so. But certainly by the time they get to the early 60s, so within the next couple of weeks for these, you might start to see them wander out of shot and they'll be out of the nest. And they won't leave and never come back. They'll leave for a little bit and then pop back in again, but they'll spend longer and longer, more and more time outside of the nest. And eventually they'll fledge, and we define fledging as when they leave the nest and roost outside for the first time. And that's normally around about 70 or 75 days old. So in the next couple of weeks you'll start to see these chicks change quite a bit. And when they leave the nest, we still want to keep an eye on them, and so like every other kakapo, they will get a transmitter. We'll fit them on a little backpack, so strings under their wings, and the transmitter sits in the middle of their back. Weighs about 40 grams and enables us to find them. And we will track them. We'll check them up once they've fledged, they've left the nest. We'll check them around about every 4 days or so for the first week or two, and then it'll be about every week after that. We'll go and give them a little health check, weigh them when they're outside of the nest, living out in the bush here. These transmitters that they'll get are also smart transmitters. It's the first time we'll have had smart transmitters on kakapo chicks, and that enables us not only to find them but also monitor their activity as well. So we can remotely get that information because the information is transmitted from the transmitter to the data loggers that we have around the island, which are all connected in pretty much like a big Wi-Fi network. It's a low-frequency radio network, goes to the hut where we've got a gateway computer which then connects to the internet, so we can get that information wherever we are. We can keep an eye on the activity of these guys. It's a little bit like every kakapo has its own little Fitbit, little smartwatch. It enables us to track how active they've been, which is great for these because we can see if they get in any trouble. Sometimes we've had chicks stuck, for example, before they get themselves in a little spot of bother. We'll be able to pick up that sort of thing, and we'll be able to pick up any sickness as well, which we use for our adults too, and it's been really useful to try and to be able to keep an eye on them when we're not necessarily there. So it enables us this year to have an extra handle on them in a way that we can keep an eye on what they're up to, even if we're not physically checking them. Because they've got quite a lot to do when they leave the nest. They've got to learn how to eat. Mum's been feeding them, but they'll learn to start to forage on natural foods. Kakapo eat a wide range of vegetation. They'll eat leaves, they'll eat fruits, they'll eat fungi, they'll dig up roots. So they eat a range of foods. And these guys will also eat supplementary pellets as well, which we provide to them. On my way up here tonight, I came across Rakiura. She was at her feed station getting some food, and so she's feeding that to the chicks in the nest. She'll continue to feed that food to the chicks once they leave the nest. And she will hopefully teach them how to use a food hopper as well, because we're providing supplementary food on Whenua to make sure the females and the males are both in good enough breeding condition, and also to give the mothers enough food to feed their chicks. And that's really important in years like this year when we've had a really big rimu crop, which has meant the kakapo have bred, but the rimu hasn't ripened, and so there's not enough food for the females to feed their chicks, so they really need that supplementary food. And a big shout out to all our volunteers who are the ones who drive that supplementary feeding on the island. They go around the island in all weathers providing the food for the females and for the males, and it's really, really important at this time. And also a big shout out to our volunteer cooks as well, who do a fantastic job of keeping us all fed. And I've just come up here with an amazing meal cooked by our cook Faith tonight, so that's great. And a big thank you to you guys for watching, and thanks for sticking with us. Sorry we've had some problems with the camera over the last few days. It's autumn here in New Zealand, the sun's lower in the sky, we've had some pretty average weather, which means that the batteries haven't got as much charge as they need to be able to run the cam, and so that's what so you can see these guys' final few weeks in the nest. And we've also been thinking about ways in which we might be able to keep you up to date on what these chicks are up to once they've left the nest as well. So it's you might have just heard a thump. That was a petrel falling out, coming through the canopy and landing on the ground nearby. Yeah, so thanks so much for all of you for watching. It's been really cool to be able to bring you a small part of a kakapo breeding season. It's been exciting for us to see inside a nest and see some of the things that have happened, like we've never watched a kakapo lay an egg before, and so that's been really exciting for us, and we get a kick out of seeing how much you guys have enjoyed it and enjoy reading your comments. So thanks everybody for watching. I will sign off here and leave you to watch these guys roaming around. They're so active. I really don't think it will be that long before they're heading up out of the nest. Cool. Thanks everybody.